Studying abroad is an incredible adventure, but we have witnessed so many students again and again making mistakes. They don't understand the differences, the challenges, and we're going to really help you guys out in this webinar. We want to see you guys succeed. So we're going to be covering the 6 secrets to success here in America for studying abroad. We've got an amazing guest, Dr. Chaitanya Sambhara, also known as the Desi American Professor. He's also across town at UT Arlington. He has a great experience as well he'll be sharing about. But again, we're going to be covering 6 secrets to success for studying abroad because so many new students are coming in. We want to help you guys succeed and thrive. Hey friends, as we're getting started, I want to welcome you guys to Chain Coaching. At Chain Coaching, we're all about helping international students and professionals succeed in their cross-cultural journeys, especially if all you new Fall 22 students getting ready to come. Welcome, my friends. I'm Rob. I've been blessed to live and work all over the world, spent 8 years working in India, been in Dallas several years now, especially working with the students here. And we've got an amazing guest, Dr. Chaitanya Sambhara. Please, Chaitanya, introduce yourself and kind of tell us your background a little bit.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for having me here. It's a great pleasure to be talking to you live, and this is my first time ever going live online like that. It is interesting that you and I are just about 45 minutes away from each other right now. Okay, but still we are doing it remotely. But that's the power of technology, right? So my name is Chaitanya Sambhara. I'm a faculty at the College of Business, University of Texas, Arlington. And for many years, I came as an international student in the United States 16 years ago. In about 2 weeks, I would complete my 16 years here. And since then, I was a student for a while. I was a master's student, then I was a doctoral student. So I spent about 8 to 9 years in academia here. Actually, much longer than that because I'm still in academia. Okay, not as a student anymore, but as a faculty member. But I have seen many students all these years, and I have seen many people making mistakes, including myself. And based on my own learning and learning from other people's experiences, I will be happy to share some insights.
Fantastic. And my friends, again, we'll be doing live Q&A at the end, so get excited for that. Bring your questions. And also, I want you guys to, if you have an incoming student friend, go ahead and message in the link right now. We want other people to come and join, to be a part of this conversation, to learn, to get to interact live as well. We want to get your guys' questions at the end. So please go ahead and invite your friends, share the link for this live stream. We want to help as many people as possible. So the very first tip we're going to be talking about is the curriculum and courses. So Chaitanya, please go ahead and share why this is important and how they can start this properly when they come to America.
Okay, so it is probably one of the most important things where people struggle right after they come to the US. This is very important because you should know the curriculum for your degree even before you take your flight. Okay, if let's assume that you are a master's student, okay, because that's the largest population of students who come abroad. So if you're a master's student, go through your department's website, look at the degree requirements. There could be different types of requirements. Let's say there could be a thesis option, there could be a project option, there could be a only courses option. If you go for thesis option, you'll have 1 or 2 or 3 courses less to go through. So whatever those requirements are, as soon as you land, within a few days, when I say within a few days, it should not go into double digits. Okay, within 1 to 9 days, let's say, go talk to an academic advisor at your university who will tell you how many courses you need to take to graduate. Okay, based on that, they will also tell you if you have any prerequisite courses to take. Okay, and this is very important because many a times you will have hopefully 0, but you can have many prerequisite courses to take. I had to take 5 prerequisite courses, 5 courses. It was almost like a double master's because my undergraduate degree was not in computer science, whereas I went for a degree in computer science and master's, right? So now I had 5 prerequisite courses, and then I knew that, okay, this is the whole list of courses I need to take eventually to graduate, right? The real challenge comes in is when uh, the course registration opens up. Okay, the course registration opens up well before you take your flight. What it means is that even before you come here, there are other people who are already in the country, okay, have already registered for those courses, which means that by the time you are ready to register for the same classes, it could be possible that the classes are already filled up or about to get filled up. Okay, so the more you delay, the more likely you are to suffer. Okay, therefore be mindful of registration timelines, be mindful of when the course registrations open, try to know what courses you need to take, and be proactive in trying to register for those classes, or else you will struggle. What the worst thing that could happen is that you are required to take certain courses which are prerequisites before you can take your real master's courses, but those classes are already filled up and you don't even know what to do now.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, it's really important to have a plan. I know some students, they get here, they show up, they'll think they'll register for the courses, but then it's too late. The ones they want, they're already filled up, and it kind of messes up their plan, their trajectory for how they want to graduate the, prerequisites they need. So the earlier, the better when it comes to the courses, for sure. My friends who are tuning in, go ahead and throw us into the comments. Let us know, where are you watching from? So let us know where you're watching from. Tell us your city, your country. Would love to see. I'm tuning in here in Dallas, Texas, North Dallas suburbs. I know Dr. Chaitanya, he's across town as well. And yeah, we're here in the DFW area, but let us know where you guys are watching from. And if you guys are watching the replay later on, replay fam, let us know again in the comments. We want to see where you guys are tuning in if you're watching this replay later on. All right, we got Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, great. Nigeria, welcome guys, very excited. We've got some Delhi, India, very cool. I love it, getting to see people from all over. We got Pune, Togo, West Africa, awesome. Welcome, my friends. Jalgaon, nice. Pune, so we got some different from Maharashtra as well. Chandigarh, oh, very cool. So all over, this is exciting. Keep letting us know where you guys are tuning in from. Saw Chennai there, awesome, this is great. So I'm gonna talk a little bit now about expectations. This is another big thing that just kind of smacks international students in the face, is they are not ready for all the differences that are gonna happen. I do cross-cultural training and consulting. I've been blessed and lucky to have been around 30 countries around the world. And I can confidently say that American culture is very different from South Asian culture. And if you're from a South Asian country, especially India, these are some of the two most opposite cultures in the world. And so when there's all these countries, no country is better than the other country. There's just differences. And so it's important to know that it's going to be different. If you're coming from Asia, Middle East, Africa, coming to America is going to be a culture shock. And I know a lot of people think of, oh yeah, I know Hollywood movies, I watch American TV shows, I listen to American music, I know American culture. But the reality is, when you're here in America, it's going to be different and feel different from where you're coming from. The classes are different. How you interact with professors are different. In many of Asian cultures, there's a much big they call it power distance or gap relationally between the professor or your boss at work and a student and employee. But in America, professors and students, they work more like peers. There's even a friendship. You'll go hang out with them on the weekends, and they'll invite you to their home for, you don't need to call them sir and madam, but you might call them their first name, which feels very weird. So how you interact with professors is very different. The culture is very different. Our holidays, our food, our way of life. In America, we're very independent and individual, but many of you guys are going to be coming from Eastern cultures, which are communalistic, very relational, very different. Our daily life, the schedules in America are different. When we start things, when we eat, just our way of life is very different in America and can be hard to adjust to. And then the job search, which I'll be talking about later, is also very different. How you typically get jobs in your home country is very different than how you get jobs here in America. So it's good to have those expectations. The more you realize it's going to be different, the more you can understand it's going to be different, the less shock there's going to be, and the more prepared you're going to be to adjust and be more effective, especially from day one when you land here. So having those healthy expectations is really, really, really important. All right. Now, Chaitanya, tell us about how students can get settled and why that is so important.
Okay, so just before I answer that question, I see that some people are already asking their questions. So my request is to hold on to your questions. We'll get there. Okay.
Okay.
So we are not answering questions as yet. We have a 5 or 6 points that we'll cover, and then we will open up for questions. All right. Okay. Now, when you asked about getting settled down, my view here is that do not be lousy. Okay. Uh, in my case in particular, and in cases of some other students, one thing that I did absolutely right and I'm happy about is that I landed in the afternoon on, if I can remember the date correctly, it was probably 9th of August. 10th of August morning, I was on campus getting my student ID made. Okay. So try your best to get your student ID made as soon as you can. The reason I say that is because uh, when you try to open a bank account, which is also what I recommend, is to do it as soon as you can. Okay, go open a bank account if you're carrying cash with you or traveler's checks, and cash those traveler checks or put the cash that you have in your bank, because that is the safest spot for you to keep your money. Okay, do not be carrying too much of cash. If you are, put it in the bank. But how do you do that? You need to go to a bank first, right? And now banks usually, at least in the United States, require two different IDs. So one is your passport for sure, but what other ID can you show? Preferably it should be an ID of yours that has come out of America. When I say, and which is the best ID, as I just mentioned, it is your student ID, right? So once you go to a bank, you can show your passport and student ID, then you can actually open a bank account right away. Okay. uh, and which bank should you go to? Regarding that, my recommendation is that as soon as you land, or even before you land, check the ATMs around the area where you will possibly live, and what are the ATMs of other banks around your campus. So based on that, choose wisely what bank you want your bank account in. For example, I was in Atlanta. I got a bank account at Bank of America. But when I moved to Ohio after getting a job and graduating, I saw that there were no Bank of America ATMs at all in the whole town, zero. Okay. So I had I not seen that beforehand, I would have struggled. So I saw that what bank branches they have and what ATMs they have. I saw that there were Fifth Third Bank ATMs and branches. So, and there was Fifth Third Bank in Atlanta as well. So I went there and opened my bank account even before I moved there. But you cannot do that. But be mindful and see for yourself. Google Maps will tell you much more than you can expect. Okay, so choose a wise bank wisely, and then make an account as soon as you can. And I would say be aggressive with, if you, unless you have a family here who are willing to host you, which was in my case, which was my in my case. uh, Try and be aggressive when it comes to finding your roommates. Okay. uh, the best possible scenario is that you have your roommates lined up even before you land. I had a case of one student who I knew very personally, very closely. The student was struggling to find roommates, and he landed in Atlanta, and he could not find a roommate immediately, right? So there was a girl who gave him a room because her roommate was traveling. So he lived in the other room where her roommate was living for 3 days. But then after 3 days, the girl whose roommate was came back from her travels, and now he had nowhere to go. He could have been literally on the streets, right? So thankfully he eventually found roommates, but then I had to buy him a ticket, bring him to my place in Dallas. From Atlanta he flew to Dallas, stayed with me for a few days, kept looking for roommates. Eventually he found roommates, and then he went back to Atlanta and settled down. So this could be an issue, and I've seen people struggling. Even when I came here as a master's student, there was one person who could not find roommates for the longest possible
Hmm.
time, and he ended up living in the living room where one bedroom was taken by two students, the other one was taken by two other students, and they all let him stay with them. Okay, so these can be big struggles. Now apart from that, Okay, one of the most important things is that you need to find or try and find an on-campus job as soon as you can. So in my case, at least, uh, I landed, if I'm again 9th of August, 10th of August, I went to campus, got my student ID made, and then I was walking around the whole campus applying for teaching assistantships or any GRAs or graduate research assistantships, right? So the very next day, I was looking for a job. And finding a job is very important because you know that the later you come, the more people would have already taken up those jobs, right? And the moment you get an on-campus job, get that employment letter and run to Social Security Administration. Okay, uh, try and get that Social Security number as soon as you can. Only when you have an SSN are you accountable in the US. If you don't have SSN, uh, it will be very hard to even find a room to rent. There are far too many things are dependent on your Social Security number. Okay, so again, within first 3 4 days, ideally speaking within a day or two, uh, go get a bank account open, get your student ID, open a bank account, look for a campus job. The moment you find a campus job, get an employment letter, go to Social Security office and get your Social Security number and settle down with roommates. Try and get these things done as soon as you can. I've seen people struggling even for the first month or month and a half, and by that time your classes would have started. So you would be going through a lot of hassle in that time.
Definitely. And there's, again, so many great resources at the universities as well that you want to take advantage of. There's an international student office. Many times there's student groups that are from your country that are there to help, maybe with airport pickups or temporary housing. There's great orientation programs. So make sure you don't miss out on all those things. And if you're planning ahead well, your first day in America, like Chaitanya said, you should be able to get, your phone number, your bank account, get that student ID, and then within a day, you should be able to have everything you need to move into your housing as well. So if you plan ahead and really prioritize and aren't lazy, then you can get a lot done in those first couple of days to get settled, to then focus on the more bigger important things. If you guys see in the comment section, the chat, I've shared some of our links. I really encourage you guys to check out Chaitanya's YouTube channel, The Desi American Professor. He makes great videos there. You can follow him on Instagram. Would love for you to also connect with me on Instagram or our Chai and Coaching newsletter. We try and send about once a week a really helpful newsletter with tips, resources to help you guys be successful in your journey. So check out those links, connect, follow, subscribe if you're not there as well. We want to keep helping you guys as you're starting your adventure. And now I'm going to mention a little bit about the job search. I know this is the biggest pressure point about international student life. This is where I get the most questions. This is where students need the most help. And really the most stress comes from is the job search in America. Because really you need that job at the end. You want to get the experience. You got to pay off the tuition loan. You want to save up some money. It's so important. And jobs are not a guarantee. Even if you go to a top ranking college and you have a good GPA, you are not guaranteed a job here in America. So one of the big differences about job search in America is we don't really have the on-campus placements that exist in your home country, where if you get the right number, the right ranking, the right marks, some big tech company is going to come and take a few hundred of these students. Another tech company is going to come and take a few hundred more of these students. Instead, especially if you're a master's student or higher education, job search is up to you. It's more your responsibility, your priority. It's just not going to come fall in your lap, because the scary thing is most international students I know end up filling out hundreds, maybe thousands of applications online and still might not get a job. So the ROI is really, really hard, really bad if you're applying online. And in my opinion, if you've seen any of my other videos, that applying online is actually the worst way to get a job in America. It's possible, but it's very difficult, and the formal HR processes in America work against you. Trying to get that perfect resume with all the competition is difficult with the ATS, especially if you don't have enough work experience. I know the US job market is really hot right now. It's difficult for freshers versus someone who has work experience. And so that's a big dynamic we're seeing right now with the very strange job market happening in America. But I really advocate for networking. So networking is the best way. That's the majority of how Americans get jobs. That's the majority of the way how people get hired in American companies is through networking, which means you have to know professionals, which means you have to know Americans, real relationships. At least 80% of the jobs in America come from relationships, networking, and referrals, and not by applying online. So again, as you build your foundation and get your journey started, there's a lot to think about, but you also want to think about networking, putting yourself in places where you can meet professionals, because they're not going to be coming to your campus, not very much. Whether you can attend meetups and do networking online, local events, conferences, hackathons, competitions, putting yourself in places to interact with companies and professionals is going to really up your chances in getting a great job here in America. And one thing that surprises a lot of students too is the job fairs and career expos. Many of them are going to happen just 1 month after you arrive here in America in September, but you don't have a LinkedIn profile yet. You don't have your resume ready yet. You maybe, haven't ironed your suit yet. And these job fairs come and you're not ready. You're not planned. You haven't done the research. No matter what, go learn and get the experience. But if you can, again, plan ahead, build those foundations. There's students that will only be here a month, but maybe still get an interview or job opportunities that first month in for internships the next summer. Because in the fall, September, October, November, that's when the big tech companies are already hiring for their big summer internships the next summer, or for after graduation the next year. So hiring happens very early in America, especially for big companies. And if you're looking for those big kind of FANG companies, you need to be ready, early on here in America. But thankfully, there's great career services, professors, there's career coaching, people to help you with your resume, with your LinkedIn, how to do mock interviews. Again, job interviews are very different in America as well. There's a lot more soft skills, behavioral focus. It's not just about your technical skills only in America. And so take advantage of all those resources, get help in your job search, and really upgrade your skills so that you can market yourself and stand out from all the competition. Anything else on job search, Chaitanya, you'd like to add?
I think you covered everything very well. So I don't have all that much to add to it. But
Okay.
one thing that you can look up for is on LinkedIn, try and reach out the alumni from your university,
Mm,
and try and make friends with those people who are just about to graduate. Right. For example, in a way, I found it helpful because there was this girl who was in her final semester of her master's program when I was in my first semester of the master's program, right? And she had a great on-campus job, for example, which was paying much better than my current on-campus job. So I became friends with her, and slowly I tried to get to know her quite well. And then, because she was graduating, somebody had to find a replacement for her when she finishes her school and leaves, right? So guess who she would recommend? Me, because I would always keep in touch with her. She was my senior by a few years. And then what she did for me is, I can still remember and thankful to her, is that that job entailed using a specific software which I had never used. And she said the first thing they will ask you is that how well do you know this software? Okay, which I knew nothing about. Okay, then she's told me that if you tell that you don't know it, you have never used it, obviously you're not getting that job. So what she did for me is that she gave me all the tutorials, and she actually sat with me about 2 3 times for 1 hour each. She coached me. Okay, now I had the comfort level to use that software, and then she took me for that interview and I was hired on the spot. Okay. So therefore, the tip I would give is that this was a case of finding an on-campus job, but it could really help
mm,
finding a full-time job as well, because now they are just finishing their degree program. If you are friends with them, once they join their companies, they know that you exist. Okay, and they know you exist, and they have actually spoken with you, they know you personally, so they are much more likely to recommend you in their own companies,
yeah.
right?
So seniors and alumni are the best places to start networking for sure. Totally
Yeah.
agree with that. So we have a fun chai question for you guys, our audience who's amazing and tuning in. Let us know in the comments, which university are you joining? Let us know which one you're studying at now, or if you're an incoming fall 22 student, Go ahead and tell us which university, which college you're joining. Want to see where people are going to be going. Who knows, you might make a friend who's going to be the same place. So go ahead and let us know in the comments. Again, if you're watching the replay, tell us in the comments which university you're joining. Really excited to see what's going on, where people are going. So many amazing colleges and universities here in America as well. All right, couple tips left to really help you guys have some great success, but focus versus distraction. Dr. Chaitanya, tell our friends why they need to really think about these things when they first start that journey.
Okay, this is, in my view, very important because this is where I screwed up myself. Okay, I was overwhelmed with being in a new country, being in a new environment. I wanted to enjoy all that, but within no time after my arrival, the program had started. I was already in those classes, right? So, and even though I recovered pretty quickly, but I see students really struggling through this. What I mean by that is that for many students, it is a newfound freedom. Okay, so now what I can tell you is that remember that you have all your life to party. Okay, the competition out there is cutthroat. Okay, there are far too many people competing for your jobs eventually. Okay, so take this tip from me, and I think I can best phrase it in a simple sentence. Okay, ready for it? Live life in a monk mode. Okay, you know what you're here for. You have all the time to find a job eventually, you have all the time to party, but if you mess up your first semester, you will be struggling through the program to recover your GPA. Okay, so have a good start to your program. Okay, I have seen far too many people who do not do well in their first semester. Okay, because it is already difficult because they are just settling down, and then what happens is that if their GPA is lower, then they get academic warnings and they have to recover their grades within the next one semester, or sometimes, if the school is very generous, 2 semesters. But usually master students have only 1 semester to recover their GPA, and they go through immense stress later on. Okay, so it is very important that you have sharp focus. Forget about watching movies on Netflix, forget about going for baseball games. All that will happen later. Okay, you can try and network with people, but take your classes in the very first semester very, very seriously. You do not want to be in a bad position with your grades.
Definitely. Yeah. I know for a lot of universities, if you, as an F1 student on your visa, I think is 3.0. If you drop below 3.0, you can get on academic probation, which can really mess things up. And in America, rules are rules. You know, if you break the rules, there's consequences, and it can be really difficult to come back from that. And so, yeah, take your grades seriously. You definitely don't need the 4.0. 4.0 is good, at least in my opinion. You know, if you have a 3.5 or above, that's great. You know, 4.0 is nice, but I don't think that's, you know, getting a 4.0 again doesn't guarantee you a job. Job search is a much more holistic thing, a lot of qualities that they look for in you. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're understanding how academics work, how the classes work. And in America, it's not just one big test at the end, but every week you're going to have assignments, quizzes, projects, multiple exams throughout the semester. And so you're always going to be working, but the great thing is you're always learning along the way. So whenever you get to those finals at the end, you've been learning all semester and you're not having to just cram the night before because you've been learning as you go. But it's a big adjustment to adjust to the flow and the content that goes on through a whole semester in America compared to many academic systems in other parts of the world. But yeah, having that tunnel vision, not getting distracted by the things that are less important, can really help you do well in your studies, learn well, and build the foundation to be qualified for jobs. Awesome. Well, I know Chaitanya talked about focus and versus distractions. And if you do have the bandwidth, if you have the margin, an extra thing that's good to add to really help you in your profile is involvement. Again, you're here to study, so you want to make sure you're studying well. And an extra bonus thing you can add is getting involved. In America, every university has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things to get involved with: clubs, organizations, volunteering. And these things really look good in your resume because these display your soft skills, that leadership, problem solving, teamwork. American companies look for these things, not just your coding languages and technical skills. And so, at the beginning of the year, there's activities fairs, there's kickoff events, go get the free pizza, go hang out and check these things out. Don't join 10 clubs and organizations. Pick one, pick two that you're interested and serious about, and that maybe you would hopefully consider being an officer in someday. Because that's what's really looks good, is not just being a basic member, but being an officer. Because those are the people that have the stories to talk about in job interviews. Those are the ones that display leadership. When you have events, those are the people that are networking and getting connected with local industries and professionals. Those are the ones that are working tightly with the professors in their departments. And so if you have the bandwidth, join one, maybe two clubs and organizations that you're interested in, have a passion about, want to develop skills. You can also do fun things as well. There's culture clubs, photography clubs, yoga clubs, bicycling clubs. There's a club for anything and everything. Anime, your home country, and you can help host culture events and festivals and holidays. So many fun things that you can be involved with. I think if you're going to come to America, experience the culture, experience the university life that's available, and getting involved looks great on your resume, gives you a great experience, make some fun memories, meet new people. You want to get out of your bubble, get out of your shell. So I know it kind of contradicts being a monk. So make sure you're prioritizing your studies, but you also just don't only want to be in the classroom and in your apartment and never interact with other people as well. Because then why are you coming all the way to America to never interact with Americans or meet other people at the college campus? So have a balance. Dr. Shichton, when you were doing your studies here, what were there things that you were involved with as a student?
I actually did quite a few weird things in my master's program. Also, it was because it was extended master's, because as I said, I had many prerequisite courses to take. I used that opportunity to take a public speaking course. I used that opportunity to enroll in an acting class. I could not survive beyond two classes because I realized that that's not my forte. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then I took a course on salsa dancing. Okay, I took a full semester salsa dancing class. Okay, so I did all these things. Then I also went on some road trips with at Georgia State University. There was this I'm forgetting what it is called, uh, something to do with their gym and
Mm.
recreation services. So, and they had some trips planned up where you pay some amount, and then they will put you in a car along with other students who have also signed up for that trip. And there are a variety of trips that they will take you: whitewater rafting trip, a skiing trip, okay, hiking trips, all those kind of things. So I did go to a few of those. Okay,
Yeah.
so I did actually, even though I said be in a monk mode, I think to elaborate more, one life lesson I have in that regard is to make sure that all these other activities do not compromise on your academic performance. Okay,
Yes.
uh, make sure that both go hand in hand, but you should never lose your focus why you're even here. Because let's be real, you are spending a lot of money and valuable time of your life to be here. Okay, and failure is not an option. Okay, so your job is to succeed, and nobody cares about your success, almost nobody except one person, which is you.
Definitely. Yeah. You are responsible for your success when you come abroad. You were responsible in America, as an individual culture here, you're responsible for everything. There's people to help, but I know if you're coming from a different culture where there's lots of people to help you, that's a big adjustment here, learning that individual responsibility. And you're going to grow so much as you come to America as well. Time to do some Q&A. We're really excited. Thanks for hanging out with us. And hopefully those 6 tips are going to help you guys with curriculums and courses, expectations, getting settled, job search, focus, and also just being involved. But I've shared again links in the chat, also in the video description. There's all the ways that you can connect with us with Dr. Chaitanya and his YouTube channel, me on social media as well, our newsletter. We want to go deeper and continue to provide resources and help beyond this webinar. So make sure you guys are connected with us. Time to do some live Q&A. So really excited. Go ahead, friends, and throw your questions into the chat. And we're going to do the best we can to answer as many as we can. And yeah, especially try and gear those to the study abroad journey and starting out. So we've got one here from Shubham. Is it common for a professor to accept a student after an interview and also give written email that they'll take them into their lab?
Is it common for a professor to accept a student after an interview? It depends from professor to professor. For example, I don't even have a lab. Okay, so in some, I think it is more specific to sciences, I would guess. Okay, so if you write to that professor, and actually I have explained this in detail in one of my videos on how to write emails to professors.
Mm,
Okay, so I would recommend that you look that up. And if you present yourself well through email communication first, don't just knock on a professor's door and introduce yourself. That will actually do more harm than help you. Okay, explain what you're looking for, what your background is, and that you're looking for uh, to assist that professor. We all know that you're looking for a job. Okay, and I would strongly recommend that you address that email personally. So anybody can easily tell if it is a generic email that you are copy pasting to hundreds of people.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so now if that professor has an opening, yes, the professor would like to talk to you, and then will hire you probably on the spot or within a few days.
Great. That sounds good. Here's a good question we got from Rahul. Can Professor Chaitanya speak about transitioning from a master's to PhD program after 1 year of study?
Okay, so this question can be taken in two ways. One is that assuming that uh, in this particular question, what I sense is that you're transitioning into the PhD program within the same master's program. Let's say you are pursuing a master's in computer science, now you're switching to PhD in computer science. That's not what I did. I actually switched fields to some extent. I finished my master's and then transitioned to PhD. But focusing on this particular question, okay, transitioning from a master's to a PhD program after 1 year of study, I think if you're eventually interested in pursuing a PhD, this is one of the best things you can do, because a good number of your master's courses will transition to meeting requirements for your PhD degree. Okay, but then a major difference between a master's and PhD program is that PhD program is not as structured as you would like. Okay, there are far too many variables. You have your advisor has a very important role in your progress. So spending 1 year in the master's program, identifying all the professors, learning about them, and seeing who you like more and who likes you back. When I say liking back, it's about mutual interest in research.
Hmm.
Okay, it is possible that I have seen cases where a professor knew that the student is very capable, but the attitude of the student was not a good match with that professor's working style.
Hmm.
So therefore a professor would refuse to take you in. Okay, even though you on paper you're a great candidate. Okay, so now transitioning, this is probably one of the easiest transitions to make from a master's program to a PhD program, because you have already been there. If you have done well in your master's program in particular, your application for transitioning to a PhD program will be taken more seriously. Okay, and this is my personal view. Most people disagree with me, I know that, but in today's day and age, everybody has a master's. Okay, most people, like, go to any campus. Okay, to I should not take any names, or maybe I should. I went to Texas A&M in College Station campus, right? I was talking to a few students there, and I said, okay, let's take a piece of rock and throw it randomly. Whoever's head it falls on is most likely a master student. Okay, so everybody is doing that. Now it doesn't mean that going for a PhD will necessarily help you. It depends on the area which you are pursuing your degree in. But the point is that transitioning, this kind of transition is probably one of the best transitions you can make.
Hmm. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. This next one, we're going to make it kind of a two-part, since they're kind of similar questions. So Abhi's asking, could you please share anything about the MIS course? Kind of what is the MIS course? That's kind of your background as a professor.
Yeah.
But then we'll combine that with MIS versus business analytics, and which course might be better for someone who's from a management background.
Okay, so I will talk about MIS course because it's a very generic question. So in this
Mhm.
particular case, for a management background student, I think MIS is a better fit than business analytics. Okay, only because business, what most people don't understand is that let me just tell you how I have seen the world operating. About 10, 15 years ago, knowledge management was a buzzword. Then big data became a buzzword. Then healthcare IT became a buzzword. Then artificial intelligence became a buzzword. Business analytics became a buzzword. And each time there was a buzzword, everybody was pursuing that degree, right? And claiming that they are really interested in this. Okay, let's be real. You're interested in whatever you're interested in because you think that there are more opportunities in that field, right?
Hmm.
Now, MIS degree, the key difference between MIS and business analytics is that MIS degree prepares you for different kinds of jobs that include project management, that include even programming, that include your database management, because these are different. There are different types of courses that you will take. Okay, many people become consultants in technology companies because what is management information systems eventually? It is all about the match between technology and business, and that is your management information systems. It's half and half almost. So know that you should be good at uh, technical skills, but you do not have to be as good as a computer science person, but you need to have more people managing skills as well. Okay, you need to have a business perspective for an MIS degree. It
Hmm.
is therefore in many MBA programs you will have a system specialization, like you have marketing, finance, systems, and that is what it is all about. And the kind of jobs you are likely to get, almost 100% of the cases, you will end up working in a tech department, if not necessarily a tech company, but at least in the technology division of a company. Okay, I've seen people getting MIS degrees and working for Deloitte, where they become consultants to begin with, eventually becoming managers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, MIS or business analytics for MBA graduate. Okay, it depends on your interests. Okay, business analytics is quite different from MIS in a sense that in business analytics, make sure that you have two major skills that combine very strongly. Okay, one is your technical skills when it comes to programming, especially in Python, and on the other side, you have your statistics skills. Okay, it is all about collecting data, processing data, generating insights from the data, and be able to tell the story to the decision makers in the company, where they make strategically important decisions for the company. For example, if you are a business analytics person in a company, let's say you're a data scientist or a business analytics consultant, your job is to see how the company is doing, where the profits are coming from, whether whatever way what whether you whether the decisions that you just made are actually paying off.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to watch out for what your competitors are doing and help your managers make decisions based on the insights that you can actually generate from the data that you have collected or the company has collected on your behalf.
Sounds great. Yeah, definitely some important differences. And really, it's kind of what kind of job, what kind of career, what job roles interest you most, what skills and technologies. And so, yeah, background matters less in America. More is about where are you going forward and studying the things that are going to help you
Yeah.
go that direction. Now we know you've made some videos about H-1B on your channel before. So let's talk about H-1B. Someone's asking, can a startup file an H-1B, and will the attorney fees be deducted from the salary, or how does that all work with H-1B filing?
Okay, here is a thing that I kindly forgive me, I will not be comfortable answering this question
Okay.
because whatever I say, I'm not an immigration attorney. This
Mm,
is a question for an immigration expert. But based on whatever little I know, basic stuff I can share, but do not take whatever I say very seriously. Okay, no matter who is filing for H1B, the money cannot be taken from you. Okay, the sponsor needs to pay for it. If the money is being taken out of your salary or if you are being asked to pay for it, that is, to the best of my understanding, is illegal.
hmm Yeah, the company should be helping, who's sponsoring should also be paying as
Yeah.
well, technically. And so, yeah, startups are also, whether it's startup, mid-size, large company, anyone can submit the H-1B filing for you for the lottery. So it doesn't matter on the size of the company. Anyone's technically able to do that for you. All right. Yuga's asking when they should start applying for internships for next summer, May of 23, which platforms, and especially when they're looking for data science or business analytics roles. What do you
Okay,
think?
so if you're looking for summer internships, the recruiting can start as soon as October of the previous year. So if it is the case of May 2023, you need to start looking for opportunities starting in October of 2022. Okay. Uh, the more serious opportunities and openings will come up between, let's say, around February, around January and February.
hmm
But the moment you start stepping into March and then April, your chances of getting an internship will go down. Okay. Now, among the many platforms, I got two internships while I was a student myself. One of those internships I got those internships by applying through my university's career system. Because universities many a times have their own career system where companies post positions and students in that university can apply for them. That is one platform. The other one, I actually applied on the company website, and I got a call within a few days, and I got the internship. Okay. So which platforms? I think this is more of Rob's side of question. So
Yeah,
I'll let you take that question.
there's so many platforms. I'll clarify this. When to apply? My answer is when to network. Networking is more important, in my opinion. So networking starts from day one in America. Applying is a backup plan. Applying is an extra thing you do, not the only thing you do. And again, the earlier you apply, the better opportunities you have. If you are going to apply, first start with the campus job portals. Many campuses use Handshake or something like that. There's LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. Many companies, you can just go directly to their website and apply on their company portal as well. There's tons and tons of ways to apply online, but the vast majority of the jobs that are available online actually are jobs available in America, never make it online because they're filled through relationships, networking, and referrals. So that starts from day one in America. And if you're going to apply, the earlier, the better.
So one point before I forget, regarding job applications, uh, almost you can be almost certain that if you are in the list of final candidates, let's say 50 people applied for a position, and you are in the finalist of three people who the company is going to interview, and they will end up hiring one. They will do some background check on you. Okay. In that regard, one of the most important tips I have is, I cannot believe I have to say this, make a proper LinkedIn profile where you have a
Mhm.
nice picture of you. Don't put silly faces on LinkedIn profiles. I especially see high school graduates who are coming to the US for their undergraduate programs. They
Mhm.
think they are being funny and whatever not, and don't post nonsense on social media. Okay, I would even say that make a professional, as detailed and professional LinkedIn profile, and then do not go start liking random things on Twitter or LinkedIn, all those kind of things. Be very careful. People watch what you're doing.
Yeah, and be active on LinkedIn. Post, comment, engage. They can actually go see if you ever made a post on LinkedIn. If you've never made a post on LinkedIn, they'll be like, why is this person not active on LinkedIn? But if you're adding content, adding value, posting periodically, that's going to give a good representation of you, especially in that field or industry. So
Yeah.
LinkedIn is way more important in America if you haven't never used it in your home country before. So here's a fun question. Bandhu's asking, how many days before should they reach the university before starting the program? What do you
Okay,
think?
this is, I think the maximum limit before is 30 days anyway,
hmm
right? you cannot even come to the country prior to 30 days of the beginning of your program. So I would say that land in this country 29 days before your program starts.
Yeah, I agree. The earlier, the better.
The earlier the
For
better.
many reasons, gives you time to get over jet lag. If you get to go, you know, at UT Dallas, for example, they have 3 orientations, 3 weeks in a row before classes start. The people who come earliest have the biggest advantage because they get to complete the orientation, they get their TB test done, so they get first dibs on signing up for classes. They get to get settled in their apartment. They have the most time to get furniture, get groceries, explore the campus, explore the city. They have the best head start. So if you're available, the earlier you can come, the better, because it just sets you up. If you're getting just a few days before classes start, you're rushing, you're stressed, and you will not be ready when it's time to be ready for classes. All right. Anirudh's asking, how can someone pursue research as an undergraduate student in America?
Okay, this is if you are pursuing research as an undergraduate student, congratulations, you are among the very few who even bother to think in that direction. But it can really set you apart, even when you are looking for jobs, and in particular when you are applying for master's or PhD programs. Okay, in this regard, okay, one important tip I have is that whatever courses you are taking, right, observe who is teaching those courses. Now there are broadly different types of people who teach courses. One are tenured track or tenured professors whose primary role apart from teaching is research in that university.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so watch out for those people. And there are other people who teach classes. Look at their titles, who are clinical assistant professors or clinical professor or adjunct faculty, clinical adjunct instructor. These are the other titles. Now mind, like, listen to me carefully. Okay, if the same course is being offered by a clinical professor or an instructor or an adjunct faculty, and if this another section is being taught by a assistant professor or associate or full professor, if you're interested in research, even you look up their teaching performance on fake websites such as Rate My Professors, even if you think somebody else is a better teacher, if you want to pursue research, you should go ahead and enroll in that professor's class. Okay, and once you enroll in that class, start sitting in the front where they can actually see you, start engaging with them. Okay, try and do your best to perform well in their classes, and then approach them. Okay, one of the tips I have is that go to take appointments with those professors, uh, and ask relevant questions and show interest in research, and ask them if they have any openings in their lab. Okay, or if you can do some work for that professor in there to help them in their research, because you're looking to learn. Okay, so that is how you can actually get started with a proper undergraduate research program, by observing who are the people you need to pursue. Because, and the reason I say this is that those professors are there because they are active researchers. Clinical professors, instructors, or adjunct professors are there primarily to teach, right? So they may
Mm-hmm.
not be active researchers. Okay, so hope that answers that question.
Yeah, and I think just I'll add, you know, one, it's about the relationship. The more the professor knows you and who you are, and if you've been a good student, the more excited about the opportunity. You've shown your curiosity that you're interested, you've asked questions, you know, and researched those things. And also, at least you've taken some of those basic courses on that topic. You know, you have some experience and show, yeah, I got decent grades, I have a basic grasp, I'm qualified. And so those things all need to be kind of there as well, especially for an undergrad. But you guys are asking great questions. We got several more minutes to answer, so throw a few more in there for us.
So,
Future,
Rob, depending on how much time we have, I'll be happy to spend some more time if
okay,
you think there are more questions coming in.
yeah. So keep those questions coming. We want to help you guys out. Also, be sure to like this video to say thanks. If you guys haven't liked this video yet, give a big like to say thanks to our very friendly Desi American professor to hang out. But we've got a fun question now from Varun. He's asking, at age 37, is it a good idea to do an MS abroad? What's your opinion on that?
Absolutely. Why not? In fact, you will be in a better position because if you're 37 years old, you are probably 10, 15 years older than most students in that class, which also means that you probably have more industry experience.
Hmm.
And because of that, companies do not care for the most part, and they are not even allowed to discriminate people on their age, right?
Hmm.
So having that work experience or industry experience behind you will actually be more helpful to you. So MS at the age of 37, absolutely, if you are willing to go take that route, go for it.
Yeah, I've picked up people at the airport who are coming to do MS or PhD, even older, and that's okay. Age is never a limit to stop learning. And I agree, like the more work experience you have, the better it is for you doing higher education, for your job search. It's not required. Work experience is not required, but it definitely helps when you're doing the masters. So I definitely, yeah, go for it. Um, okay, kind of a different topic now, Loic. Is it okay to take a loan from international lenders, considering that the only option, you know, loans have increased, in the interest rates? What are your thoughts on taking a student loan, Dr. Chaitanya?
Okay, so I fortunately did not have to take any loans because I had full funding right from the beginning.
Mm,
In fact, I did not pay a single penny for my master's or my PhD. So I don't think I'm that qualified to answer this
okay.
question. But my personal view is that that sounds very, very expensive loan. Okay, so if you are ending up spending that much money, where getting a job is not even that guaranteed. Okay, I would, this is my take now. Don't hate me for saying this. You need to seriously consider if you really want to pursue this program in that particular university where it costs you so much. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that go to a more affordable program. Let me just give you a real example from my own family. I had my uncle, my father's younger brother, came to America in 1984. You know, he applied to only one university when he applied for programs. Okay, that one university was University of Wyoming. You know why he applied to that university? Because that was the only university that did not have an application fee. He had no money. Okay, and then he knew that once he goes there he will get full funding, even though he could have gotten admissions at much more reputed universities than the university that he went to for his masters. But then financial independence was a very important factor, so he first went to that university and then switched to a much bigger and well-known university, which was University of Toronto in Canada. And he got admissions at other top universities including University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA. But in his case he went to Canada because his family was not getting the US visa.
Mm,
So he wanted to bring his wife and kids to stay with him while he's a doctoral student. When they got a visa for Canada much easily, so he moved to University of Toronto instead. But then you need to be very wise because the last thing I would like for you is to end up spending so much money for your degree and not even succeeding. It will put you in a very difficult position eventually.
yeah.
9 to 11.5% interest rate, in my view, okay, please don't hate me. Don't go for it. Okay.
Yeah, and that also depends on what is the tuition of the university. Do you have scholarships? Is there scholarship opportunities? So there's a lot of budgeting factors to consider. Obviously, student loans are normal. Many people take them. It's you have to calculate the risk that you're willing to take, and have a plan for either getting scholarships, doing on-campus jobs, getting internships, full-time jobs, and calculating the numbers to see if that's what you feel comfortable with. Every situation is different, and there's a lot of numbers that we don't know about you, so it's really up to you to calculate the risk, the potential, and do you feel comfortable, and is it worth it? you know um, is it a top program, is it an average program, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But we got a different fun question here. When someone's considering a master's, does their 12th grade marks, grades, do they have an impact on admissions?
The good news or the bad news, depending on who you are, they don't matter at all. Zero. Okay, no impact at all. Your undergraduate grades matter, and your scores in standardized tests matter. Now, my recommendation is that even if a university, especially post COVID situation, says that we are willing to consider applications, even though they have not taken the standardized tests such as GRE or GMAT, whatever, I would still recommend that you go ahead and take those exams, especially if you are going to do well, because
Mm,
that will, a good GRE or GMAT score will help you get admission. Or okay, and those are the things that matter: your undergraduate performance and your standardized tests, not your high school. Okay, if that is the case, I did very poorly in my ninth standard maths, in ninth grade math. Thankfully, it did not matter.
okay, good to know. More about the undergraduate performance than the junior college or school.
Yeah.
Aditya is asking, they're a commerce stream student going to do a BCA. In the future, they'd love to do an MS in computer science from US. Is that going to be a good course for them? Especially since they don't think they're very strong with physics.
Uh, you don't have to be strong or weak at physics to apply for masters in computer science.
Hmm.
Okay, these are two completely different programs. And if you are going for a bachelor's in computer applications, a good number of universities, now this is more of a Rob question than me question. Rob would know better, but based on whatever incomplete information I have in this regard, universities require you to have 4-year degree in bachelor's.
Hmm.
Okay, so BCA, to the best of my understanding, is a 3-year degree. So you'll
Okay.
probably need to. I would recommend that go ahead and get an MCA degree, Masters in Computer Applications, and then apply for a master's in the US, or at least complete 1 year in your master's in computer applications program. I would personally recommend just complete it. Okay, you will have a proper degree, and then go for master's in computer science. But I don't see why physics would have any
Hmm.
bearing on your computer science degree.
Yeah, that would be more for engineering, if you're going to do civil, mechanical, those kind of engineering, physics would be more important compared to computer science.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back to some PhD and research. What are the key components of research background when applying for PhD programs as a master's student?
Okay, so in this regard, there are several factors. First of all, what field you're applying for a PhD program in. Okay, in some fields, they require you to have an extensive background. In some other areas, even sometimes having no background or somewhat relevant background can also help. Okay, so it really depends on what you're applying for. For example, if you're applying for a PhD, let's say in accounting, okay, I don't think you can get admission into a PhD in accounting without any accounting background at all. Okay, whereas if you are applying for a PhD in computer information systems or MIS or CIS, it's the same thing for the most part. It's actually the same thing, different names. Even if you have a degree in commerce, or if you have a degree in economics, or if you have a degree in computer science, they will take them all. Okay, and the components of your research background, let's say if you're applying for a position, a PA doctoral admission, which requires a proper background. Okay, then they will be interested to know that in such cases, already completing a master's degree is going to be much more beneficial.
Hmm.
Okay, now in that, try and have some active research agenda. It doesn't have to be the same that you will end up doing in your PhD program, but at least try and do some work. In my case, for example, I actually took a thesis route in my master's program. So when I applied for a PhD program, even though in an unrelated field, they saw that I took the thesis option and I have written a thesis. So I have some, if not too much, at least some basic understanding of what research would entail.
Hmm.
Okay, so that is a strong recommendation. If you are applying to be a PhD program, try and take a thesis route in your master's program. Okay, and the key components of research background is that over and above the background that you show on your paper, it is your personality that will speak through. Universities do not give you a PhD admission without an interview for the most part. Okay, and then they will look at your personality in a sense that, is this person hard-headed, or is he willing to take feedback? Okay, can this person, if that person is criticized or for poor performance or not meeting expectations, which happens with almost everybody, can this person understand where they're going wrong and how they can fix it? Is this person flexible? Okay, is this person really open to learning? Many times it is easier to learn than to unlearn and then learn. Okay, so your aspects of your personality also matters along with your background.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Now we have the classic shortlisting admits question from Surya. Does university rankings matter on location too? I have
Rob,
some
why don't
thoughts.
you take that question?
Okay. So look, shortlisting universities has many, many factors. It's not just college ranking or location, but there's tuition fees, scholarships, weather, course ranking, uh, involvement opportunities, the local community, big city, small city, industry, so many different things to consider. And really, you have to decide what's most important for you. I don't think you should choose a degree or an opportunity just because of the college ranking, nor just because of the location, because that's not what Americans do. Americans don't pick their colleges because of the ranking of the university or because of the location. They pick it because of all those holistic factors. And location, in America, you don't go study at a university so you can get a job in that city. Americans don't think like that because in America, you graduate and you get a job anywhere. Now in the virtual world, you can get a job virtually anywhere. So, obviously networking is important, but Americans don't pick a university because of the hopeful local job opportunities. It can help, being in a big city, but also the cost of living and rent is going to be more expensive as well. And rather than university ranking, I always suggest to focus more on course ranking. You might be at a top college, but an average course. It's better to be at an average college that has a top ranked program. If you get into a top 5 university or a top 5 program in the country, that might make a difference in terms of name recognition. After that, the next 100, 150 colleges in America are all awesome. They're all good. You're going to get the same basic education, same basic opportunities, and ranking matters much less. Again, numbers don't matter as much in America as other countries. And so don't fret. Consider all those options. We've got some great shortlisting videos on our channel as well. And you decide what's important for you and then see what opportunities you have. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think you nailed it.
Great. So yeah, you need to figure out which factors are important for you and then choose what you really want to do with that. So another question from Yug, is not having work experience after bachelor's, directly going to MS program, and at the time of internship or job application. So will it be a problem if they're looking for internships and full-time jobs if they don't have any work experience in between?
Okay, I witnessed this happening firsthand in the last 3-4 months. Okay, earlier it was the work was still a very valuable thing on your CV, but not absolutely required. It was true until 10 years ago, but this year in particular, I see that far too many people are failing to get internships. Let me just give you a real example. There was this one person who I was trying to help find an internship, and I connected him with another friend of mine who has a great job in Colorado, in Denver area. He
Mm-hmm.
works for an IT company there. So I connected them both, and so that the person who is working in that company could help this master student get an internship. And even though the internship application deadline was over, because of my recommendation, they still took his application in. And then eventually, this person did not even get an interview call.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to my friend in Denver asking why did he not even get an interview call? And he informed me that for one, they were hiring, I think, 7 or 8 interns. And for each position, they had more than 50, 60 applications. Okay, out of those, let's say 50 applications per position for internship, right? Among those 50 applications, about 10 to 12 had 3 years of work experience. Then they knew that these people will be more ready to do well, and they will eventually be hired to work in that company. Their chances were higher. So guess what they did? They eliminated the remaining 40 students right there, and they shortlisted the 10 people. And then among those 10 people who had proper industry experience, then they ranked them based on, in their view, which were the students who had better grades and the universities that they were attending. Based on that, they shortlisted about 3 or 4 people for each position. And they interviewed 3 or 4 people and ended up hiring one for each
Mm.
position. Okay, so imagine the level of competition you will have. So I would not have recommended this earlier, but going forward for the next few years, if you have prior work experience, I would say that even 1 year work experience is not as much. Getting at least 2, preferably 3 years of work experience is really going to put you ahead of competition.
I agree. Yeah, that seems like what the job market in America is right now. And if you don't have work experience and you're coming, don't worry. It's still possible. You're just going to have to work harder, be
Yeah.
smarter, network more, build a brand and profile, and do as much as you can to get tangible experience as a student, with projects and competitions, and give proof that can do the things that they're looking for. That's what matters. So, but yeah, it definitely helps and makes a difference. All right, lots of great questions. Keep them coming, guys. We'll be doing this for a few more minutes. Someone always asking, how does a person select their topic or domain of research? For example, data science is a very vast field. How can someone select more of a niche topic in their domains?
Okay, there are two ways to answer this question. Uh, Data science, the way the world knows it today, is nothing but statistics, to be honest. It is just glorified statistics for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at least that's how I see it. Okay, now, are you trying to go for research in statistics? Most likely not. Most likely not, right? uh, there are people who do go for PhD in statistics, where they try to come up with new algorithms or new techniques of data analysis. I really doubt if most people would do that. Very, very few people go in that route. So now, assuming that you are not going in that direction, then comes to this topic of how do you find a topic. See, data science is a very vast field, I understand that, but you are not you are not likely going for research in data science. You are going for research in a topic where you use data science. Okay, those and these two are different things. Using data science skills to investigate a research problem is different from coming up with a new technique within data science. Okay, now, how do you select the topic or domain of research? Okay, you let's be real. You do not select the topic entirely on your own. Okay, it depends on, whenever you are doing working on any research topic, you are working with a certain faculty member or certain research professor, right? Then you have to see what kind of research topics are they working on. Each professor will have at least one, but most likely two, three, four, five topics, broad topics. Okay, so start working with that professor, and among those 4 5 interrelated broad topics, see what topic are you more comfortable with and that you think you are interested in.
Hmm.
And all those topics are likely to use some variation of data science. Okay, you could be getting a master's degree in marketing, but you will still use data science to study a problem where you collect data, analyze the data, and run the analysis, get the results, get the insights, and then come up with your findings. Okay, so data science is a vast field. Now it depends on the kind of data you end up collecting. I think I'm getting more technical now. Let's say if your dependent variable is a count variable, then you will go ahead and use Poisson regression or negative binomial regression and so on. So if you are working with a different kind of data sets, let's say if you're working on a survey data, then you will need to learn about partial least squares or structural equation modeling and different kinds of techniques.
Great. Thanks for breaking that down. We've got one now regarding UT Arlington. So Ayush is asking, is a BBA in finance worth it in the US as an international student with 80% scholarship at UT Arlington? Any
So
thoughts on
assuming that
that?
they are coming, they don't have a BBA, they are coming for a bachelor's degree in finance, right?
I
Uh,
think so, yeah.
this is my personal take. If you're getting 80% scholarship, that's fantastic. Okay, finance department at UT Arlington is a very good program. Okay, and you have a great advantage where Dallas Fort Worth area, you have a lot of financial related companies. Okay, we have,
Banks, credit
yes,
cards, yeah, yeah.
you
Investment
can, okay, you
companies.
can go ahead and name them, but this is a very hot and happening area. I know in this case location can matter because it is more convenient to find a job where you don't have to move to a different city. You can get a job in the same geographical area. But this 80% scholarship is a pretty good deal.
Great. Sounds good. All right, you guys, lots of great questions here. Let's try this one. Do a couple more left here. Nafe's got a couple of years of research experience in the field of machine learning and maybe data science, including a year of research experience with professors from US. They got a GPA. What kind of university does that matter in whether, high, middle, or low tier or ranking universities?
Okay, so in this case, GPA is indeed on the lower side. Now, when you claim that you have research experience, okay, this question comes down to what kind of research experience do you have? Did you actually work closely with that professor? Okay, if you did, then that professor can write a letter for you explaining and defending your GPA being on the lower side. Okay, that can still help you get into a good master's program. Okay, assuming that you have work experience in your bachelor's degree. Okay, now uh, what I can tell you based on this is that if you can have a good rapport with the professor who you worked with in for that research, and the professor knows you well and can defend you, along with, if you're applying for a master's program or even a PhD program, what you need to do is to get stellar standardized test scores. I have a friend who had I think the minimum GPA was 2.0 to get his bachelor's degree from Georgia Tech, and his I could be off in my numbers. To the best of my recollection, it was 2.0 that he needed to graduate with. His GPA was 2.05, something on that side. It was as low a GPA as possible to get his degree in. But when he took, and then he decided to go for a law degree at Emory University, at University of Georgia. And this person killed that exam. In that LSAT exam, he had a 100% score.
Wow.
Okay, and then he explained it in his application that, see, even though I have a 2.0 GPA in my bachelor's program, I was struggling to find the right path for me, and I was in their industrial engineering program, which is the best rated program in the whole world. So it's not that I'm getting a 2.0 GPA from some random place. Okay, I'm getting a lower GPA from best of the best places. And here, why I'm still competitive based on my aptitude. It's not that I'm not talented, I'm talented, but I was in the wrong area. Now I know where I want to go, and therefore I expect that my performance could be better in that area. And then he had solid recommendations coming in. So I would still say that you can at least hope for a mid tier university, if not high tier university.
Sounds good. Now, Pratik is asking, is it recommended to pursue a thesis-based master's even though wanting to aim to get into industry after graduation?
Uh, the it's up to you really. Thesis can actually can many times help you, because if you do not have work experience in particular, it can actually show that you are doing something valuable still. Okay, and thesis will show that on your CV. Okay, in that sense it can help, but for the work that you will be doing in the industry, for the most part thesis is not going to help you much at all. I would recommend, for example, in my master's program when I was a student, we had two options. One was thesis, one was project. Okay, if you're going a project route, you had to take one course extra to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
But now they have a third option where you don't even need to go for a project. You need to take one extra course, but all you do is take courses. Okay, so With as compared to a thesis option, you will end up taking two additional courses, and you can still get a master's degree. Okay, but I would not go that route, because one additional course is most likely to be not that relevant for you. So I would still recommend at least go for a project option. uh, Thesis option can always help you, uh, at least if you decide to go for a PhD eventually.
Hmm. All right, we got another one. Can someone with a 3 years degree and bachelor's get into a good MSCS program with a 336 GRE and CPGA of 9.5? I know that some universities accept a 3 years bachelor, some don't. So that's something you need to research and find out. But any extra thoughts on that?
uh, the thing is that, see, how should I say, it also depends on where you got that 9.5, right?
Hmm.
If you went to the cream of the cream university in your home country, then it can be very valuable. But if you are a 9.5 GPA from an unknown university, it may not help all that much. But
Hmm.
4-year degree is always preferred for universities. Okay, so but your GRE score, this is a new system of GRE exam, where when I took it was out of 1600. If I understand correctly, 336 is a very good score in
Hmm.
GRE, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That can help you strengthen your application. But it's upon the university whether they take 3-year degree or not.
Yeah. Someone was asking, with PhD, is there any requirements or minimum amount of research papers and publications you have to do?
It depends on the department and the university. If now, I cannot be 100% sure if I'm right, but if you pursue PhD in computer science at Georgia State, where I went for my master's degree, if I can recall correctly, they needed 4 papers. Okay, but in my department where I got my PhD instead, there was no such requirement. Okay, you had to have at least one solid paper. Okay, so there are no fixed rules. So I ended up with 3 papers in my PhD program.
Okay. So just depends.
It depends. Ask the university and ask the department.
Yeah, that'll be always go to the source.
Yeah.
All right. So Shubham, he had asked before, and I think he sent a follow-up clarifier. He was asking about emailing professors for lab opportunities. So he's coming in for the fall of next year at Colorado State. And he also sent an email that being a good fit. Now he's fearing of being denied later about that. Any worries or concerns that he should be having with this situation?
I think that concern is quite valid. Just because somebody said that you'll be a good fit does does not mean that they have actually made you an offer, right?
Hmm.
There could be somebody who is even better fit than you, so they may end up hiring that person. And fall 2023 is far too away in future. I know the future will come soon, and this video will become a past video forever, even though it looks like in future right now. But it is, at this moment, it's too distant in future. So I would not totally count on that one professor saying that you'll be a good fit.
Hmm.
In fact, to, in fact, one professor at a particular university, a top-ranked university, once told me that I am among the top applicants for their job in that university. They did not invite me on campus, but
Hmm.
that professor told me to make me feel good. Okay, so the saying you're a good fit does not mean much at all.
Yeah. All right. UT Dallas, UT Arlington, do they provide out-of-state tuition waivers for international undergraduate students?
I wish I could answer this question. I really don't know.
Me
I
neither.
Mhm.
Me neither. I say just go to the website. It's probably on there. And if not, email the admissions department and ask them.
Or I would even say that go talk to students. So a lot of let me just try and quickly explain why I don't know the answer. Okay, my association with UTA has not been as a student.
Yes.
Okay, my association with UTA has been as a professor here. Number one. Okay, and my association has never been with any university in the US as an undergrad student. I came here from a master's and pursued a PhD program. So because of that, I did not spend enough time to learn about this, what happens for undergrad students. So talking to current undergrad students is going to be more helpful for you.
Definitely. I agree. Always go to the source, talk to the students, talk to people working at the university. They can always answer that better. My advice is never trust someone who has never actually studied at that university. you
Yeah.
know, don't take their advice because they don't have the real experience. So, Chaitanya, are you familiar with gate ranking?
Uh, I know about it. So they
Okay.
are for master's degree programs in India.
Okay. So someone's asking, can a gate rank under 100 help us in profile building to attract a top 50 university?
Obviously, it would be a great bullet point on your CV. But what this question has not clarified is what kind of program they're applying for, master's or PhD. GATE is for master's degree in India.
Hmm.
So if you had a rank under 100, and then you pursue that master's program, and then you did well in that master's program, and now are applying for PhD in top 50, while having some good GPA and work and research experience, then of course it is going to be very helpful. If not, if you just took GATE just for the sake of taking GATE, and you did not join that any university in India, and you're applying for a master's program in the US as well, having
Hmm.
a rank of top 100 is going to be a good bullet point, nothing beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good. Um, any tips for students on managing finances?
Uh, I'm not the right person to say much because in my case, I was very lucky. I had a on campus job. You know what? One or two things tips I can give is that don't get into bad habits.
Hmm.
Okay, I know one student who is a chain smoker. Okay, so he has already has limited finances, but he cannot stop smoking, so he just buys cigarettes with his money. Okay, I would say learn to cook. So eating out is fun in the US, but at least when you're a master student, you should be self-reliant in that regard.
Eating out's expensive here too.
And food can be expensive. Okay, and just live in always maintain an Excel file. Believe it or not, I maintain an Excel file where not as a student, but ever since I started working full time in a university, I have tracked every single paycheck I got. I have a PDF of my pay statement, and every month I update and I keep a full track of my finances myself.
Hmm. Yeah. Do something, anything that's going to work. A spreadsheet, there's so many awesome apps out there that you can use to budget. Um, you know, make sure you have good communication and plan with your roommates as well of how costs are going to be shared with rent and groceries and utilities, all those things. And I know UDJ, my friend Pratesh, he has lots of great videos on finances on his YouTube channel. Go check those out. He goes really deep into budgeting and finances for students. So yeah, I'm not an expert either, so I know there's lots of great resources out there as well. So um, I know you guys have so many great questions. We've got to kind of wrap it up here, but
Yeah.
as we wrap up, again, everyone give some love in the comments. Say thank you to Dr. Chaitanya. Give a like to the video, and any final words you want to leave with our friends for how to start or anything you want to encourage them with as we wrap up. Thank you guys again. But yeah, leave us with some words of encouragement.
Okay. One of the one of the tips that I will give you is watch your online presence. Don't. I would say that when you look for jobs, people actually do some work on your background. Don't make any controversial statements. Okay. You keep your views to yourself, even though they could be extreme. uh, and focus on the purpose. You have all your life to party. Okay, if you want to party here, if you want to go on vacations or whatever, do that once you really have free time, like in summer vacations, for example. But know that being comfortable now and having that pleasure right now could actually be counterproductive eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Also, be very focused on why you're here. Okay, show up to classes on time. Okay, this is one of my pet peeves. I hate it when I'm teaching a class and the class has been going on for 10-15 minutes and then I see students walking in. Okay, and then if you come ask me for a letter, guess what? You're not going to get it from me. Okay, show up to classes on time. Okay, one odd mistake. If you are going to skip a class, ever, okay, be courteous and send an email to the professor beforehand that because of this reason I will not be able to attend the class, but I will try and find a way to learn about what was covered in that class for that day. Then you are
Awesome.
on the good side of a professor. And third tip I have in this regard, especially for men, because I have been a man all my life, okay, be more presentable in a sense that I don't know anything about makeup and stuff for women, right? So I'm not going in that side, in that regard. For men, get a haircut. If like trim your beard if you have some, okay, look presentable. Don't wear dirty shorts and slippers, even though if you see other people doing that, but watch your own appearance, watch out for your own appearance. If a professor has seen you as being a shabby student, and then they see that you are struggling in classes, and then you start uh, almost kind of begging the professor to help you, give you additional assignments to help you improve your grade, that is not happening.
Hmm.
Okay, your behavior throughout the semester really matters.
Yeah.
Okay, so be presentable, be on time. Okay, and while the class is going on, do not start a conversation on your own. Let me assure you, you are not making $1 million deals in the class. Whatever discussions you are having are irrelevant, even if the class is boring as hell. Okay, still try and pay attention. And I will close with that.
Wonderful. Yeah, all those little things, all those little efforts are going to pay off in the long run. So thank you again, everyone. It's been so fun hanging out. Love having you guys being part of the Chai coaching community. Sorry if we didn't get to your questions. There was so many questions. We tried to cover as many as we could, the relevant ones. And yeah, Dr. Sambhara, thank you so much. Appreciate your investment as well into the student community. It was fun to hang out today. Everyone, best of luck, especially starting this fall. Hope to connect with meet you. And yeah, let us know how we can help you in your journey. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank
Cheers.
you. See you then.